Well,
Can you just meow at her and she'll just jump on you?
Yeah. She understands the context of the room and like what it means when I do that. It genuinely is permission. Like that's what's happening there, is like me saying, yes.
You probably said something, like butt plug banana, and she's like, whatever, sure, say words. And
I don't even know. Like, I don't think that's how cats work. I think cats work like it's contextual, right? Like, I'm not actually saying words, but like the context of the situation makes it clear that is the communication that we're having.
We do the same thing with Taxi all the time because he learns intonation. Because I could look at him and be like, George Washington, do you want bleach? He literally just picked his head up because he knows. He knows
because he wants bleach. Because he wants bleach. He wants the bleach. You're not gonna let him. You're not gonna let him have what he wants. He doesn't. You won't.
I would rather buy another blonde puppy rather than create a blonde puppy.
Look, he just wants to rock the 2001 Eminem haircut. Okay, he needs like a hoodie. Has anyone done that where it's like they just dye the top of their dog's head so it's like a haircut? Someone should do that. That's one of the funniest ideas I've ever thought of. I don't think I have anything better than that ever.
I do have a frosted tip story though. Back in, God, this had to have been 2002, 2003, something along those lines.
That's
then
when it would have been.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember like what year of high school it was, but
sure.
My hair is like near black. It's such a dark brown, and I wanted to be cool at the time, and it was the thing to do, and it was very popular. And I was like, all right, let's see what happens. So I talked to my mom. And she brought me to her salon to have my hair frosted tipped. And the whole time the hairdresser was just like, this is such a crime. You have such thick hair. It's a joke now to me having none, but like you have such thick hair. It's such beautiful hair. Why? I don't know why you want to do this. And I was like, it's what, a lot of people do it now. It looks cool. And da-da-da. I go through the whole however many hour process. And I'm like, oh my God, I got the tips and it looks great. I go to school. Before the first period, I was laughed at 3 times. My best friend, who I didn't even tell that I was going to do it for, was just all different kinds of confused. And gotta remember, I'm a gawky 6'5" at the time beanpole. Now with frosted tip, I really look like a Brazilian tour guide flag, just walking around everywhere. You can find me everywhere with that. And by the 3rd period of that 9-period day, I had already texted my parents and said, hey, schedule another appointment. I need to cut all this off.
That hurts.
I was so embarrassed. I was so like, oh.
Kids are the worst.
They are. Rude people are pretty bad just as equally, to be honest. But
do you think Strife would have frosted tips? Because I feel like he would.
If he still had hair.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's like, he's entered the zone. But
the auto zone?
I do feel like no. What I like to refer to as the propecia zone.
For some reason I thought you were going to say alopecia zone, and I'm like,
no, the minoxidil zone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's entered the zone.
And now I can't get the theme song AutoZone out of my head. Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, I cut that. That's so bad. This was gonna be the cold open, and now you put in this unrelated corporate jingle that we're not getting paid for. You should go back, and what you should do is you should censor it out, and then make them guess what it was.
You didn't remember the whole bit with, the Fanatics website you bought your jerseys from. That was a multi-episode bit.
You censored it out.
The link was in the description.
I'm just saying, you specifically cut out the part where I identified what that website was. You did.
Oh, yeah.
And
you're right, I did.
I considered that smart. I was like, yes, smart decision.
I forgot about that. I'm not gonna lie.
I watched that back and I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah. We had another
You're
one.
surprised that I watched any of it, weren't you? Yeah.
To be honest, yes. But I know how many videos you don't watch.
I don't watch any of my videos. Like, I don't know if that catches people off guard or not, but to me, my videos are like, the worst thing that can possibly happen is I post a video and I get like 3 pings within 10 minutes. Because what that means is like, I missed a cut. I accidentally said that like a deck needed a card that was already in the deck. It's always something like that. And it's like
somebody trying to catch you on something.
Yes. I every notification I get, like the nightmare scenario is notifications off of a video, which is not how you'd think it would be. You'd think it would be like, oh, I'm getting Discord notifications of my video. People must love my content. Hell no. Never. It's never like at KMBest. Wow, I love this. It's at KMBest. You fucked up.
At KMBest, you do realize that you had a double cut actually in your last video when you were making a quote and you couldn't remember who the quote was from, and then you paused and went,
no, I left that one in on purpose. That was purposeful.
Oh, okay.
That I thought was funny. I was like I was like, the bit is just like, I thought that added to the video. That was purposeful.
Okay. Just making sure.
No, sometimes I'll do that. And it's like, because I'm so bad at everything else, people won't get that I'm joking.
I didn't.
Like, it's one of those things
I thought
where it's like, I'll do something that I think is like, yeah, like I'll do something because like the premise of a lot of the jokes is like, look at this idiot, right? Like, look at this idiot, the idiot being me. That's like a lot of the jokes I set up are me playing a character of an idiot to mock, right? And so it can be a little bit difficult when I'm also actually an idiot, because then people are like, are you sure, man?
Where's the line here?
I've been making the ethical Marvel Snap joke about Star-Lord for the last, I don't know, week or so. I've just been like, it's so good that ethical Marvel Snap is back on the menu. I love that we can play these ethical Marvel. So I posted the Star-Lord deck. I was like, it's so nice that ethical Marvel Snap is back. I love playing these fair mid-range decks. Pick unrelated. And there was someone in the comments like, there's nothing fair about this deck at all. And it's like, dog,
first time viewer.
I don't know what to do.
First time viewer. That's all. Because I think ethical kind of really started to explode for me with my recognition of you once we started ethical Foom in here.
Yeah, no, I use it to mean like it's sort of a, when I say something is ethical, I'm either implying that it's bad or that it's unethical. Like those are the two things that I really use the word for. None of them is like the actual way you're supposed to use the word, but that's how language develops, folks.
Yes, this is true. Speaking of developing things, let's talk about the ever developing situation here of trying to figure out this damn card. Strife.
Oh, I thought for a second you were going to say, speaking of developing things, let's talk about developing the photos on the Polaroid camera from 2003 of me with frosted tips.
If it's taken 23 years for those photos to develop, I'm telling you right now, they're probably not good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that like maybe the like sheer coolness of you in the frosted tips sort of slowed the process down in like a relativistic time dilation kind of way.
I do not have any photos of me with the frosted tips. The only high school hair photos I have of what am I doing was one time my sister straightened my hair. So I had the pin straight emo kind of cut look thing going on, covering the eye.
In high school. That's just what my hair looked like in high school. It wasn't like,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You seemed like an MCR kid.
A little bit. Not as much as you'd want. Like Green Day, maybe, but not really MCR.
Okay. You weren't in all black, that everything was just a band, or I hate life. Or
I feel like that would have been a cooler move for me to go towards. Like, I think I wasn't cool enough to be one of those kids. You know, like if I were wearing skinny jeans and black tees, that probably would have been a better look for me. Like retrospectively, if I could go back and do it all again, I probably should have done that.
Just because it's comical in my head to envision as well. Please tell me you were built physically the same way?
No. I
Because
spent
that would have been
all
just
of my
so funny,
childhood-
like a Johnny Bravo kind of build with like the skinny jeans and stuff.
I mean, I did dress like that once I got jacked, though. Skinny, like that's what it was like in 2000 and
Taxi does not approve of the skinny
whatever.
jeans comment, by the way, clearly.
But in like 2015, you'd wear skinny jeans and like it's like I feel like I won't say that the fit is timeless, but my dressing rules are like usually if one of them is tight, the other one has to be baggy. But I didn't understand this then. So it'd be like skinny jeans and a tighter t-shirt. Now, if I were to wear skinny jeans, it would be with a much larger, baggier t-shirt. If I were to wear larger pants, it would be with a relatively tighter t-shirt because I am slightly smarter than I was then. But I definitely spent my fair share of time wearing just gym clothes, like skinny jeans and a gym shirt or whatever,
Yeah.
Plenty of that.
My look hasn't evolved much outside of which graphic goes on the tee. Is it a unnecessary phrase, or is it now, rainbow coffee at the end of the pot of gold?
I can't do graphic tees. I'll tell you that much. I mean, like I can, but I can't do graphic tees with the jewelry. I can't like, to me, it's just like, I can't square that. You also wear longer jewelry than me, right? All of mine are like pretty much up here because the effect I'm going for is like an additional collar a lot of the time, right? Like that's the emphasis I'm going on. And so like, I feel like I can't do, it's too busy if I have like jewelry and then also a picture here. So whenever I'm wearing like a shirt with like a graphic tee, it's always no jewelry. Like I can't cross the streams. I can't do it.
This chain is only in the last year that I even get this chain, because typically I was the same way. Typically my chain would be a much smaller chain, and it would be like, resting in the same area, height wise, it'd be like up to about here, which feels weird to do on top of the shirt, but you get the idea. Like size wise, it's just barely over the collar length, and that was it. And then 2 years ago, when my parents came down here to visit, they brought me this chain and this Italian horn, and both of these belong to my grandfather from Sicily. So they are very historically relevant. I feel like
you should
family.
honor that heritage. You should honor that heritage by, instead of wearing graphic tees, wearing like, and I feel like I get to make this joke because you can make the same joke about me being Jewish, Star of David. It's the same exact like visual image, which is to say chest hair, necklace, open collared shirt.
What I do off stream is what I do off stream.
You should start wearing like silk shirt open down to here.
Just
one of those,
just
one of those,
like hanging down all the way down.
Hit one of those, hit one of those like 3 buttons undone on my linen shirt moves.
Sounds like a stream goal. It's guest Guidoing. Great. Here we go. That's what I'm going for.
Ooh. We should probably talk about Strife.
We tried 3 times. I've had him on the screen. We made ball jokes. We talked about relevance, and we should really talk about. I've transitioned.
I mean, congratulations, but I'm very proud of you. I think that Strife is a card that is like, this is weird. I think he's getting a little overrated. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a good card.
Yeah.
But I think people are like, God, I just can't play the game without Strife and Fin Fang Foom. And it's like, yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you can. Like I've seen like I like the Star-Lord list, and a lot of what I like about the Star-Lord list is the ability to not be a Star-Lord deck and just like play some 2023 ass final turn is just an Arnim Zola kind of gameplay. That's a lot of what I like about the list. Your limp games where you're not Star-Lord comboing, or you're playing him on 4, or you're just trying to like cobble together some combination of like large men to like make it work. Those are the fun games with the list, because the other games you play, you're either getting countered or you're doing something ridiculous and nothing ever actually happens. So the times when you actually see turn 6 are usually when you're doing something cool, but not cool enough. Strife is cool there because he's 4-cost end of turn Fin Fang Foom some of the time. So he races the floor in that way. Like you have Strife and then you get to play Strife Juggernaut on 8 energy. And it's like, oh, I can get to 8 energy with a Luna Snow and a Psylocke or Grandmastering a Luna Snow. So my floor is higher. I get to have more of those games. That's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
I do think he does cost you though. Like you're swapping him out for Legion. That's a good ass card. Like you'll play games and you'll be like, man, I don't have any tech. They play a Magic and they really beat your ass now because you're doing all of this stuff and they get that extra turn and they kind of count as your Star-Lord anyway. And like I like the Star-Lord deck. I like playing those games. I am very sympathetic to Star-Lord as a card because I just enjoy what he's doing in a way that I didn't expect to enjoy a deck like that. Like I like playing the deck because of those limp light games, not because of the combo, but like because of all the games where you're not Star-Lording. It's a unique experience. And I prefer decks that give you this sort of like experiences you can't get anywhere else that are improvisational. And Star-Lord, when you're not Star-Lording, does a lot of that. And Strife helps with that. I'm not saying he's not going to be a key part of the deck. I think he probably is, but like it's not something that comes without cost. It really is not. I have felt the impact of like, I don't have a Legion here. It has mattered. And he is not nearly as important to the core of the deck as pretty much 5 other cards you could easily name. They are all more important than he is. This is a guy who is a like tertiary engine piece that I have chosen over a 1A tech card, you know? And that's fine. Like, I think that's a fine decision to make, but I don't think it's nearly as like, oh my God, he's so busted. I can't ever beat the fact that they're playing a Fin Fang Foom. Like you can.
Yeah.
You could play a Cosmo on this guy and you'll probably be fine.
I think the closest thing that analysis wise that I kind of felt with Strife in that type of build, because I ran a similar build, was when Star-Lord first came out, there was basically 2 decisions of what you wanted to do with Star-Lord. There was the package of Star-Lord and then the all-in Star-Lord deck. You know, your Eliath, your Fin Fang Foom, you know, the full, everything is all about Star-Lord. And then you had your 4-car package version of Grandmaster, Absorbing Man, Zola, and Star-Lord. And you could throw that combo of 4 cards into other decks as well. Strife feels like the 5th card when you're transitioning from package to full deck. Like you don't need him. You wouldn't have needed him to make the package work. But he's the number 1 card you think about when you're looking at, look, I'm going all in. And that's where I think there's a meaningful difference versus the Legion, where it's like, if you're going all in on this card and you're making the things happen and the Star-Lords and the Fooms and you're really leaning all in. It's like Mr. Negative prior to Star-Lord. You're all in and this is what you do. That's what Strife kind of feels like he's doing to that Star-Lord deck currently. He's just saying you're really committing to this line and this combo and package. In that deck in particular, what I also recognized with Star-Lord, with Fin Fang Foom, is it feels good with the Fin Fang Foom combo in that deck. It didn't feel as good when it's the only target and your deck is built around like Strife Foom as a 2-card combo, which is really just Strife wanting to only really hit Foom, and that's it. And I kind of saw that consistently start to happen, where if Strife only has 1 target, you're kind of about the card the entire way. And I also, because I felt that also in the Thanos list, which I've really overall liked, but I think I liked it because what specifically it was duplicating is such a all-encompassing board effect of power that it's worth it in that deck, because if you don't pull it, it's fine. It's still a Thanos deck. You still have a billion other lines to work with.
largely agree with the idea that Strife is pretty tied to a couple of specific on reveals and that it's hard to get too many of them in the same deck, right? Like, I have enjoyed him in the Star-Lord list, but like when you get to like the Pixie Sholau Finfang stuff or the Aurora stuff, it's like, I do think he's good. He raises the ceiling of your good draws, but you know, he's also going to be dead some amount of the time, and you kind of have to just live with that. And I think that he's, even in the Foom lists, like he's good, but it's not like those lists weren't already like waving a Finfang Foom and Zolaing it or whatever, you know? Right. And that line's arguably better because when you wave a Finfang Foom, you can also, you know, Absorbing Man that Finfang Foom and then Zola one of the Absorbing Man or the Fin. Like it's, I don't know. I think this guy is pretty far from a problem, but I do think he's probably an upgrade to the engine of the Star-Lord list, probably an upgrade to Aurora decks that are not Doom 2099. And then I kind of run out of things that I think he's doing.
Well, there's a couple other things about it too that I diagnose, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. With him in particular, I did not like when I had conflicting game plans at the same cost. For example, I tried running a zombies list, right? Because we thought zombie giant man, this makes sense for that. It's another zombie giant man. But in that list, I also ran a Show Lao package. So I had two options at 5 cost to dictate how I would want to use it. The problem is you're typically sitting on both of those and you don't know which one it's going to work towards. So the indecision on synergy is one thing. So then you move into the 6 cost category. And then it was like, okay, this started to feel a little bit better because you're either doing Arnim Zola or you're doing Blob, which I think was actually a really good use of him specifically. Because I'm like, this is now a 420. This feels really good.
Isn't he cannibalizing the Blob though?
Not necessarily, because what I found with that deck was I started building it where he had one target at 5 cost, obviously Fin Fang Foom, and then originally it was Arnim Zola, and I went with Galactus First Steps. What I found myself was I wanted very often that second option at 6 cost.
No, I agree, but like if he hits a Blob, what is the actual Blob gonna do?
From your hand, you're not playing it at all.
That's what I mean when I say he's cannibalizing it, right? Like he's...
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. You're playing it as the cheaper option of doing so. But more importantly, it's not about the cheaper option. It's about the extra 6 power. And that on Blob makes a big difference on Blob. So a lot of those decks where if like, look, you didn't get your Fin Fang Foom. Okay. You're going to absorb it then. Great. It's an easy 10. And very often, depending on the order in which it happens, it does actually go way over that 13 threshold. Therefore, this is becoming a 20 power card in a lane, and that feels just as good as a Fin Fang Foom very often. So in that line, I did like it.
I think it doesn't feel as good as a Fin Fang Foom because you can't Arnim Zola it.
No, on the I'm saying if you're playing it as a final turn card, I should be clear on that, but because that's typically when you're trying to play it.
Like, I guess I just think there's a lot of additional downsides that Blob represents that Fin Fang doesn't, is largely what I'm getting at here. And most of those downsides are related to not being meaningfully duplicatable, something like that.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, if you have to choose between the targets of the two, of course, yes, you want the Fin Fang Foom over the Blob. But
my argument is basically, I'm not sure Blob is worth including given how much worse it is. Like, I think maybe what you're supposed to do is just eat it when Strife isn't good. Like, what are you supposed to do in those situations? It's not put a card in your deck just for that. It's just like, sometimes you got to retreat for one when your deck doesn't function. Which actually reminds me, I've been seeing this a lot recently. People playing like Wiccan or Doom 2099, right? And I'm playing a Star-Lord deck, and they snap when they do a Wiccan or a Doom 2099. And it's like, I understand the logic of I am playing this deck. If I'm not snapping my nut draw, when am I snapping? Right. But I need you to continue that thought process when this happens, because the conclusion you should be coming to is not I should be snapping my Wiccan against the Star-Lord deck, unless you're Wiccaning with priority into a Cosmic Ghost Rider on my Star-Lord. The conclusion you should come to is, I should not be playing this deck because I cannot snap into a Star-Lord deck to save my damn life. I have no ability to do that. Like sometimes there are just decks where it's just like, even if you're doing your thing, you are so unfavored in the matchup that you can't, right? And it's an easy heuristic to be like, I shouldn't be playing this deck if I'm not snapping it here, right? And people take that to mean you should always be snapping your nut draws. But sometimes it actually means you shouldn't be playing the deck. It's the other way, right? I am blown away by how confident people seem snapping into Star-Lord. People will snap into Star-Lord and I'll be like, oh, I should play around a counterplay thing. And then they just won't have one. And it'll be like, what the hell were you snapping? And it was just like their proactive game plan. And like, it's like, it's like snapping into Mr. Negative. Like, what are you doing? My game plan is so much bigger than yours. It doesn't matter that you're doing what you're doing. I don't care. The matchup is so in my favor if both of us do what we're supposed to do that you have to wait until you see that I'm not doing it. You cannot snap into the potential for me to do that a lot of the time. And both Star-Lord and Mr. Negative have this thing built in where it's like, they don't really know if you're nutting off or not. They don't know until it's a bit late. And that is bad for your snap equity. That is bad. But that's a deck problem. That's a deck matchup problem, not a like... I don't know that there's a solve for you there, you know? If you snap because your opponent hasn't played anything and they go turn 4 Mr. Negative, turn 5 Jane Foster and beat your ass. That's like, I guess
coming.
I should say, I'm not saying it's wrong to snap, but if you're snapping and then I do my combo, it's definitely wrong to stay. It's definitely wrong to stay.
Yeah.
Like you do not get locked in there with
the
me.
retreat.
Yep. Do not get locked in there with me. Just accept that you misidentified the matchup and leave for 2. Like, don't do it. It's definitely something that you notice more playing those combo decks. Is like people will snap because you're not really like visibly doing a lot. And it's like, buddy, that's a mistake.
You're clearly missing something here. Like, do you not see the Jim Hammond that went down on 2? Like, think about it.
Jim Hammond. I played a Jim Hammond in a Psylocke. I must be doing nothing.
Yeah.
I must be doing nothing.
I'm so behind right now. I'm so behind. Yeah.
Must be nothing there. I don't know. Like, sometimes you got to be sometimes you're like supposed to snap and be like, they don't have it, right? Surely they don't have it, right? I think it's, I don't want to dog on it, but it's just like, I get a lot of snaps from people who are playing the exact decks that this deck is supposed to beat. Like the whole premise of a deck like Star-Lord is it beats the good mid-range curves when they do good mid-range curve stuff. It's the whole point.
Yeah.
Entire point.
I get it.
Therefore, that implies that doing the mid-range curve stuff is not a good snap condition in the matchup.
And this is, I have a similar problem very regularly, and I know I'm not alone in this category, where it's not even about failure to identify what the matchup is. Very often it's failure to accept that the match is already over. Because you see a points line for your deck and you think okay, they're going to do some crazy stuff, but I'm about to put 40 power in this one lane. Meanwhile, they just dropped down a negatived Iron Man plus negatived Mystique in that same lane, and you're just dead. 40. That's great for you with your 40 power. How does 67 power in this lane feel? Probably not. Yeah. Probably
it's a number notably that is impossible to get to with Iron Man multipliers.
This is very true.
Very well done.
Wait, no. Incorrect. You can get to that number in an Iron Man plus Mystique lane.
Go on.
Living Tribunal.
Sure.
Yay, math. All right. Anyway, I digress. Back to Strife. So with Strife, I just kind of felt like, I want to talk about specifically with Strife Sholau, because it took me a while to really, truly understand the rhythm of how, because he's much more difficult to use with Sholau than I expected, both with the double version and just a straight up like as Sholau was. And I was messing with that yesterday and was like still remembering how to get the timing right for having it hit and proc, whether you're dropping it as turn 4 or you're dropping it as the final card or part of the combo on turn 6, changes the use case of Strife. And I think with more time, it may end up being a thing once people kind of learn it. But I really feel like we're missing it just feels like we're missing something. Like we're missing a synergy besides Foom. We're missing a deck, something.
Who is we and who is missing? Like, are you saying we are missing something?
The community in general
doesn't have an option that this card would want?
No, it feels like the game is like so close as a community to figuring out, like, you know, typically after the first couple, like, look at what happened with Star-Lord. We knew within 2 hours, oh, this is what you do with him. This is the best thing. There's no question about it. With Strife, we're still discovering it. And it's been a couple of days now. And
well, I would say I disagree. I don't think there's like a secret Strife deck out there, really. I think what you're noticing is Strife has a gap in terms of the cards that you actually want to hit with it. What Strife doesn't have is a card that's like Fin Fang Foom, that is a 6 cost, where a lot of its power is in the on reveal that is able to duplicate itself. It just doesn't have that card. Like, you used Blob because there's not a better card that puts power on itself than Blob at the 6 cost spot. And Blob is explicitly non-duplicatable. You can't get anything out of Zolaying that, right? And you look at like other cards in that vein, like you have like a Black Panther, just like there's not really a 6 cost Fin Fang Foom where it's like, I'm a 6 and I'm big and most of my power comes from an on reveal. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There's no 6 cost Show Lao. There's no 6 cost Zombie Giant Man. They're like the power generation the things you want from this card are very specifically big, expensive on reveal that adds a lot of power to me that I can then get rewarded for Zolaying. That's what you want out of the guy.
Yeah.
There isn't one of those at 6. Doesn't exist. And so I don't think it's like we're missing Strife. I think Strife is missing a piece.
That's not Fin Fang Foom. Yeah. I think.
Yeah. Imagine there was like 6 cost, but, you know, like Gore, but it's an on reveal. Gore, but it's Sage. You know, that's what it wants. It wants 6 cost version of Sage, where it's like a 6/0 with like an on reveal that accounts for 15 power or whatever. That's the thing it wants. And it doesn't have that. And so I don't think it's an issue of like the community is missing an interaction. I think it's an issue of the card pool doesn't support this card in a way that if they ever do make a card like that, you got to revisit this stuff. You got to start paying attention. If they ever make a card that's like, you know, the Gore of on reveals, suddenly you're like, oh, okay, now I know what I'm doing with Strife. You know, I've got that and Fin Fang Foom. I'm doing some real stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be straight up that we are missing that card. I can't shake, and I know it's nothing more than just like a feeling, you know, where
vibes.
Yeah, it's just the vibe of like it kind of feels similar to how we felt about Ensaba Noor after a couple of days also, where it took Ensaba Noor an extra point of power after a week and a half, and a little bit of experimentation with the new, like, okay, well, we throw Jubilee in here, we throw Dragon Lord. Okay, you know what? We have a deck now. This is the home. Like, it took a while to build that season pass into this is where its best home probably is going to rest and lie. And as much as this card works with the Fin Fang Foom stuff in the Star-Lord deck, I don't know if it's because I'm underwhelmed that is its best home, or the fact that we're just missing what else this card should be doing that it is not, that we have not discovered you should be doing with it. Like, where is it?
I'm saying I disagree that is the case.
Yeah.
I think he's actually just a fairly limited card that looks like he's open-ended, but he actually wants very specific things to succeed in this metagame. And he doesn't have at least one of those things.
Yeah. Man, could you imagine a 6 cost version of Gore? like on reveal version.
I get why they haven't made it, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
duplicating that guy is a pretty solid reason not to make it. Like, I totally get it, but like, yeah, like 6-cost version of Gore where it's just like, you know, like imagine Sage's effect, but it says +3 or something, right? +4. And it's
to be fair,
that's what the card wants.
It feels like that when you play it as a final turn Sholau. It does feel like that.
But that's not even as good. That's not even as good as just playing a normal Sholau on a duplicator. Like that's what I came away with after playing Strife Sholau is like, why? I would much rather just put this buff on a Maverick because it's 3 points bigger on turn 6. It's like, yeah, I got 2 Sholau procs, but I get 2 Sholau procs for putting the buff on a Maverick anyway, and there's 3 more points in that. And so it's like, well, what am I doing?
Of course,
why am I doing
it's
this?
the better line, yeah. But as a like backup secondary style line, you started to kind of feel like, okay, maybe this is an option here. Like, you know, we all tried variations of it, and I just constantly felt like in the Sholau deck, it just didn't belong. It was too clunky. It didn't.
Great split. My God.
Thank you. I got lucky. I feel like it feels like it wants to be in this deck, but at 4 cost in particular, it doesn't make sense in this deck. It's so much better to do the Scarlet Spider stuff. It's so much better to do the Luke Cage Mysterio stuff, the Maverick stuff. Your 4th option is, okay, let me go ahead and do the 4 cost thing to get a second one of these.
Yeah, or if you're like hybridizing with the zombie package so you don't have any of the other things that would, like if Sholau is your backup a lot of the time, right? So like if you're a Pixie Sholau deck where Sholau is kind of just there, he's like a good thing to have in the deck, but he's just not really like doing any of the synergy stuff. He's just good. Or if you are like Zombie Giant Man, right? Like you're doing zombie stuff and Sholau is just second Zombie Giant Man. And then Strife has 2 targets on 5, right? Like that. Yeah. Those are places I think you can see the card. But ultimately what you're running into is that there are no 6s that this card actually wants to copy that much. Like you really do get that out of it. And it's like that is the big gaping hole in Strife is where the hell is my 6 on reveal Gore? Like that's the big thing that I think of when I play this card. It's like, and don't get me wrong, it's nice that like we have a Fin Fang Foom, but like, can we be honest about what early Fin Fang Fooms are? Like, can we be honest about how bad an early Fin Fang Foom usually is? Like, it's just like, I'm going to gain 4 to 6 power, and then you're going to Zola me. And because the objective, it's a new copy of the card, the objective will go off again. You'll hit the Fin Fang Foom again. But like, it's not that good. Like, it's not like an early Fin Fang Foom is that good.
It feels like the Fin Fang Foom Strife combo should have been in an old school, like Sarah Tech package where you're playing Strife on 4 plus 2 cost Shadow King. And that's your Strife on 6 as a 4 cost plus Shadow King, and that's your 4 plus 2 winner. You know what I mean? Like that. That's what it feels like. I'm not saying that's what it would have been done as, but you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Well, to be clear, I think the other thing, the thing that you touched on that I want to push back on is not like specifically this, but like I don't think you can really play Fin Fang Foom in decks that aren't gonna be able to play him some amount of the time by just playing the card, right? Like, I don't think you can put Strife Fin Fang into your deck that isn't going to be able to play Fin Fang Foom. I don't think you can do that. That's the other space where you're really missing that 6, right?
Yeah.
That's the other space where you're just like, I don't really feel like I can build with this card unless I'm playing, 2 ways to get it, the Fin Fang Foom itself playable. Because if it's just a Strife bot, I can't put the card in my deck. It's not justifiable.
I think that's for Strife in just Strife, not just Strife Fin Fang Foom. That's what I was talking about earlier, where it's like if you have Strife plus 1 target, and that's why Strife is there, that's not a good use of Strife. The only time it felt like that was okay was when the deck was already supportive enough that it could justify that as the 18th card, because if you hit the Aurora, you hit the Aurora in the Thanos deck.
The 18th card?
There's 18 cards in a Thanos deck, yes.
That's just a weird way to think about it. I'm sorry.
But you see what? No, but I mean it like that because when you're looking at it from a dilution standpoint, there's 18 cards in the deck. If you don't pull it, it's not the end of the world. But when you do pull it, it's because you're specifically targeting the Aurora and you don't mind that you still got 17 cards to make your deck function versus you have only 11 cards to make your deck function.
I misunderstood. I thought you were saying that you should be putting Fin Fang Foom in Thanos decks. And I was like, hold on.
No. I'm talking about Strife.
Okay.
Strife's
yes,
no.
Yeah. Strife.
Which,
I was like,
give it time. Somebody will figure
here?
out the best way to do that too. But like until then, like
sure.
it's, I do think that Strife is just meh. He's cool. And I feel like he's a card that is gonna have En Sabanor syndrome, where it's like, the weekend missions are here. All right, what are we doing with it?
Well, the thing is, he does have a much better home than anything En Sabanor has. Like,
this is
just
true.
by virtue of going in the Star-Lord deck, just by virtue of that, he is a tier above En Sabanor.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that like it really goes to show how contextual this kind of stuff is. But like literally just being a good contributor in a great deck is enough. Like to make the card be beyond the description of meh. I do think that because he's a good contributor in a great deck, he's overrated as being like a source of success for that deck. He helps. He's not the source of success for that deck. And I think that is the big thing about this card, where it's like, if you take away the fact that he goes in the Star-Lord deck, you take that away. If you take away that he's like a reasonable call for 12th card in the Star-Lord deck, 11th if you think Jim Hammond sucks, which is valid if you do. I totally buy that.
It's justifiable. I get it.
If you take that out, this card is En Sabanor. But you can't take that out. You can't take it out.
You're not wrong.
That's sort of where I'm at.
No, I 100% agree. And it always makes me feel a little bit leery when that does happen with the season passes, because then everybody starts going, okay, you launched the season pass and we feel kind of like, about it. Let's take a look at again. People like to look at then what's the super premium card or the one of two cards in the series 5 packs, which I want to sidebar for a second here. I think as a creator community, we need to do a better job of communicating that, because we always call it the super premium card, but it's not the only place that it's accessible from day one. And that's just old mindset.
I don't
nomenclature.
think that's on us. I don't think that's on us. Like, it's available in the packs. Yeah, but it's not available in the rotation. Like, I don't think that's on us. I don't think that's on us at all. Like, I think
there are other issues.
I always get a little leery. I always get a little leery when like creators are like, I think the creator community needs to do a better job of like pushing thing. You know what I mean? Like I've had this conversation with a couple creators where it's like, I think we should do a better job doing whatever. And it's like, no. I think we should say exactly what we think. Like, I think that it is not our job to like, do unpaid PR work for Second Dinner. And to be clear, everyone I've talked to at Second Dinner, I have liked. They are good people. I have enjoyed the conversations that I've had. It is not my job. Like, it is just not my job. If they want to fix the branding of something, that's them. Make me change my mind. Make me feel like it's just. I think super premium season pass. That's where most people are going to get it. I'm going to call it that until further notice. Like, I don't know. I have had no bad interactions with them. Obviously in the future, I have a very big desire. God, another great split. Wow. Nice. Like, I love, that border.
It's just the red cosmic border. That's it.
It's a great border on those though.
Right?
Matches so well. So.
Yeah.
I want to kiss ass, right? I want to work for this company. I want to be Glenn Jones. Duh. Right? I got to work up a resume, send it in. Obviously. Yeah. But that does not make it my job to do like unpaid PR work for them. Like, I'm sorry.
I get it. I think there are other things, and I'll talk about it in the other podcast, but there are other things with the super premium season pass that just make it, annoying. But let's talk about the card. Techno-Organic Virus. I really enjoyed the play of this card, just what it brought to more than just Sauron. Sauron style decks. Because I saw people obviously experimenting with the rocks package with Ozymandias, because the rocks keep the fact that they're a rock, and then they get double the on reveals and double the ongoing effect essentially being added onto them. And then I saw people start really going into other directions that I wasn't thinking about with this card. Like originally I discounted the idea of JT Falcon actually being something that works with this card because, well, it's an on reveal, but then you're getting 2 copies that are then Mobiused, and they're both 1 cost. I'm like, okay, you know what? I was thinking about it.
It doesn't
like
copy
2 threes
twice, though, right?
Like you get 2 in your hand,
2 copies, but it doesn't proc twice. You know, it's still
right. It doesn't proc twice, which is why I had discounted it, because I'm like, well, it's not applying twice. Why would I get? But then I saw it happen against me, and I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually really good because it's compounding.
I see people doing it with Moon Girl.
I saw it with Moon Girl as well. I also liked Moonstone, which was a good synergy for me too. Because it doubles the on reveal. Doubles the ongoing in that lane. So
I guess
you play it down, and then you've got Moonstone also reinforcing it as another card on top of those that have already been infected. I was like, oh, that's
I can say I didn't try that. The things I think TOV works in. Moon Girl hand dump, where you're doing a bunch of ones, you're going to use a Black Swan instead of the Mobius, and the Black Swan overlaps because you're playing a bunch of ones, Moon Girl, She-Hulk, Hitmonkey, etc., etc. It's just like a nice card there. Pixie, because the incentives overlap so much, you both want to play a bunch of ones and Mobius, and this is just, I would not be surprised to see Techno-Organic Virus in various Pixie decks going forward, because it is a 1 and works well with Mobius. And it's just like, that seems like a thing you can do. It's not very specific. So the more specific the game plan the Pixie deck has is like Show Lao Fin Fang Foom or the Pixie Chef decks that are doing like, you know, Shuri Infinite Taskmaster, the less likely this is to show up. But the more you're playing Ika style generic Pixie, where it's just like, here's Pixie and just like my favorite big expensive cards in the game. And to be clear, I love Ika for being able to win with that deck. That's my guy right there. But that is very much the deck building conceit there. And that's the kind of thing you'll see TOV in, where it's like a much less focused kind of Pixie deck, where it's just like, you know, here's my good stuff and I'm pixing it. And then the third thing you'll see TOV in is just, you know, he's reverse Sauron. You just play this card in your deck and you don't ever try to play it multiple times. And it's just a Sauron in reverse, or a 0 in reverse. Yeah. And Sauron Supergiant kind of stuff is where my head is at. I took the list from back when it was a really good deck in Golden Gauntlet. You remember that? The Golden Gauntlet that was all about Sauron Supergiant. Cut Enchantress, put TOV in, and I got an from Zenade, you know, the Sauron guy, that was like, did you get my exact list off of Untapped? And it's like, no, I just like...
No, it's true though. I mean, it's just it's a obvious organic you know, magic. Yeah, I know. I paused. I paused. Yeah, you might even say it's techno-organic even, because it's just like
organic.
It's
a deck with tech in it, and it's an organic fit.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw people doing some even like miniature packages where they would run it with Martyr and Lizard and Techno-Organic Virus and then other stuff. And it was like a small ball package.
You know that meme where it's like the guy from Shark Tank and it's just, I'm out 1.3 seconds.
Yes.
You say Martyr, out. Just
fine.
There is
fine.
You
Bob, Nightcrawler. Yes. You make your adjustments, but you get what I'm saying. You
can't make me do it. Like, you cannot make me do it. I'm sorry.
It felt like when I saw it, I was like, huh, this makes a lot of sense. And as I was
even like
messing,
Titania,
you
know, Titania, however I'm supposed to pronounce it. People get mad at me no matter how I pronounce it.
Ms. Anya. Yeah, she's very much
Anya. Her last name is Anya. Her first name is, I didn't think that through. I can't say what her first name would be in that.
It took you that long to get to the joke.
No, yeah, I didn't. That's on me. That's on me. I apologize. But yes, I Wow. I've been missing that. That's crazy. I could have been making that joke for 2 years. Anyway, she is a card that is at least more justifiable than Martyr because there are things I can do to make her good that
Fine.
do not
And that's
involve
fair.
only filling up the board. Like
That's fair.
even there, I'll do it. But Martyr, 1.3 seconds, I'm out.
No, that's fair. Completely fair. I feel like it had a lot. It ended up presenting Techno-Organic Virus presented a lot more flexibility than I was originally anticipating. And I expected it to go into certain shells like Sauron, and I think everybody did to a certain degree. But then as I experimented with even just like other shells of like, okay, how many decks have dead cards because their effect just needs to happen early and then they're just sitting there? You know, whether it be like the Quicksilver Domino stuff, whether it be early on reveals like an Iron Patriot. Once it's done its thing, it's done its thing. Why not capitalize on that further? Like I threw it into a straight up Gambit Lin Lee list with Moon Girl, and it was good because it helped to bring extra value to dead cards like those games where you have Lin Lee not doing the matchup lineup. Okay, you've got a dead sword in the other lane. Let me infect it. You know, I've got the Moon Girl down there. It's already given me 2 viruses. Let me double infect after Gambit's already been put down in the middle lane. And I'll put these in the other dead lanes. Like, it actually did end up having purpose because it also let me run cool tech. Like, it's flexible.
I find it hard to believe that's a long-term home. Sounds more like the Techno-Organic Cold than the Techno-Organic Virus, you know? A little bit more like the Techno-Organic, stuffy nose. The Techno-Organic stuffy nose is what's happening here.
Yeah.
Because my gut is you will make this deck meaningfully better if you replace Techno-Organic Virus with card that works in the shell. Like, my gut is you will meaningfully improve this deck if you replace Techno-Organic Virus with, Agony, or in a few weeks, Mother Ascani. You know?
Probably Mother
Call
Ascani.
it a day.
Yeah.
Like, just
I can't wait for
call
that
it
card.
a day, right?
Yeah. And 100% that is the case. And I know that. And I'm more than well aware of that. At the same time, felt pretty damn good. And I would probably be able to pilot this and feel like it was a fun decision and variation on something I've played.
This is actually like an interesting decision in terms of like how we choose to make content, because I typically feel, and I don't mean to like impugn you here, but what I'm going to say
not at all.
may actually impugn you. I don't know a way to say it that the reason I do what I do is I feel like it would be some amount of unethical for me to present a deck that I know is probably not a long-term home for a card as something that is like in those videos about a card. I think it would be I think it would damage my credibility, and more importantly, my ability to give recommendations to say like, this is a deck that should be in this video. I've recorded bits for videos where it's like I've had decks like that, and overwhelmingly what I've done is just been like, I'm going to cut this out of the video. And you work on YouTube. You understand that when you cut stuff out of the video, that costs you money. You are losing money when you do it every time.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the kind of thing where it's like, I'm willing to be wrong, you know, as long as I'm wrong in an honest way, as long as I say what I actually believe, I'm willing to be wrong.
Right.
People get on me, you know, for like being, you know, I don't think they should nerf Star-Lord. I don't think like this is a counterable card, all that stuff. I'm willing to say I was wrong about that, but I'm not willing to say that I didn't believe it, because I did believe it. I believed every single bit of that. Right. And to me, putting a card like that into a deck where it's like probably making it worse, that would be something that I could not do. I could not justify that. I could not be like, I don't think that I can do that. Right. And I kind of like the flip side, though, is, am I being too focused on elite performance whether the card is an actual upgrade. Is it an incorrect theory that I'm operating on, that this is what my audience wants? Would my audience actually prefer if I showed everywhere you could play the card, even if it wasn't meaningfully an upgrade? Is that what the audience is there for, or is the audience there for something else? And it's like, I don't think that it's wrong to do that per se, but
Right.
I have operated that I think it would be wrong for me to do that. And that is how I've operated my channel.
100%.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, am I actually sure about that assumption? You know, like, I don't know. Like, maybe I should be doing, like, you know, you can play it here. It's not like meaningfully upgrading the deck, but like, this is a home you can have, because I think there are a lot of people who are looking for, I got this card already. I want every option for where I can play it, right? Not just the ones that KM thinks are the best. And I kind of wonder about that. Like, it's an assumption that I've basically made for 3 years. And I don't really know if it's actually true.
So here's my assessment of that with just the creator community in general as well. You know, sorry, not creator community, in the viewership community of Marvel Snap. People follow different creators for obviously very different reasons. And to me, at least, your audience, of course, is more competitive focused in that sense. First and foremost, they want to know exactly what you were talking about, which is, if I play this in blank shell, is this a meaningful upgrade, or is it a side grade, or is it a downgrade? And you go with that mindset in your content first and foremost, and that's what you've built your brand on, and is what you are known for. Having said that, the way you present that content also changes. For example, I'll use Tucker, who's a great example of this, where he'll release a video on a card prior to its release. So it's theorizing. I release a video after 4 hours of gameplay where I've theorized my decks, executed the decks, speak about the results of the decks, and the learnings I took immediately from the card synergies in those decks. And very often, I'll even say in the video, I'm not putting the link to this deck down below because it sucked. But I sucked with this deck and learned this, and now you know this. Or I found this one key thing, you should know it going into playing this card no matter what deck you play it into. You'll come out with a video 2 days after the card has been released talking about initial top performing homes that you have either personally played or have had other top players play afterwards. And the release windows of those videos are absolutely dictating the type of content that you're also making. Yours is looking at the other way around. Summary.
The type of content dictates my release window. I choose not to do day one videos or theory crafting videos,
right,
specifically because I think they provide me, like, I have very little respect for theory crafting. Like, it's a fun little exercise, but I think a lot of people will get the wrong impression about a card from theory. Fundamentally, I am a big believer in practice over theory in basically most disciplines.
Yeah.
And
I get that.
I think that, like, you know, it would be a misuse of my platform a lot of the time, or at least not necessarily a misuse. Like, that's a very strong way to phrase it. But I think that it would be not necessarily irresponsible, but it would have a non-zero chance of implying endorsement of a card that I couldn't actually back up. I like this card. I think it's going to be cool here. Like, I know that in reality, people understand that, like, you're going to be wrong about some things. And it's a theory crafting video, and that's all super baked in. But the reason I do my videos after the fact is so they can be more accurate. It is not like a content decision. It's worse for my content, I think, in terms of views, to not go preemptive or day of or any of those things. I do it because of, it sounds so like stick up my ass to say it, because I think it is the correct thing to do. I think it is not the most ethically justifiable thing I can do in the situation.
It is to me, at least, I think another way you could look at it for yourself, because I think the community generally will look at you with less of an aggressive lens than you look at yourself.
Sure,
I think that you are respected for your analysis more than your theory. And other people are more respected for their theory than they are their analysis. That's why I'll use like your ability to look at a Honifer deck, who's a great example of someone who can really theorize pretty damn well in this community. He'll build a deck.
Great deck builder.
Right. He can see going into it, okay, this is the starting point and here's why. Might make one or two changes and then share and say, hey, I started from this, I got to this, share it with X, Y, and Z. You might talk something, that other people might talk something in a further chat, and then kind of finalize, this is what this deck becomes. That first step in theory crafting, a lot of people love doing it. A lot of people hate doing it. That's why there's an autofill button, because a lot of people hate doing it. And what I really enjoy about it is like, because I used to do the theory crafting stuff too, in the sense of like, I used to release my videos prior to release to kind of like see what happens. Here's a starting deck for you. Start from here and see what happens. And then I switched, realizing that I like doing the analysis, but my home of like where I'm strongest is I'm not the best deck builder and I'm not the best analyst. I'm like right in between. I'm okay. At least I consider myself okay in both categories. My window is exactly that. It is, let me do a little bit of theorizing and then explain the results of my hypotheses and present my results to the community. That's my window. So that's why I switched doing card videos to the way that I now do them, because I feel like it's the best use of what I am as a creator, where I can be creative and I can explain things. Sure. But if I was a better theory crafter, I'd be releasing videos on Sundays talking about the card 2 days prior to its release.
Such a thing. I just don't think there's such a thing as a good theory crafter. Like to me, good theory crafter is like good carnival barker. It's an exercise in charisma rather than an exercise in analytical skills. Right?
I disagree
like
with that.
That's my view. Cause like, I don't know, like, I think that it's extremely rare for theory crafting deck to actually be the thing that people end up doing with the card. It's super rare. Like it is.
Agreed.
It is rare enough that like when your hit rate is that low, it begs the question of what the purpose of the exercise is. And the purpose of the exercise to me pretty clearly would be entertainment. Getting people thinking about things. That kind of thing. It's like closer to sci-fi than it is to,
I think you went a little far there on that, but yeah.
Documentary. You know what I mean? It's Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. It's as opposed to like a documentary.
I think you are pushing it down a little bit. Yeah, I think you're pushing it down a little bit because, for example, some people like to build decks, but they might not think of a specific synergy, or they might not think of a specific counter, or some people might just not like thinking. Right, just to get people thinking. And I think that element of it alone, and not even from an entertainment standpoint, because as an entertainment streamer, I'd like to consider myself, I can tell you confidently on YouTube, that doesn't translate anywhere close to as well. Educational content always translates better in the gaming space because shorts are for entertainment. Long form videos absolutely always perform better when they're educational in this space in particular. And because I've tried both, same thing. What I've learned over the course of changing how I look at cards and analyzing cards is that the value of the videos that come out prior to a card release get the theory crafters thinking and get them spinning prior to Tuesday. Then you've got, I'd say about 24, 36 hours or so where people are just like tweaking and adjusting. And then you get the second wave of creators like yourself that will then start looking at a deeper dive of analysis to say, here's everything I've learned and everything you should know. If you weren't talking about it beforehand, if you weren't thinking about it beforehand, I did, I've listened, I've tested, and I'm presenting my results. So it just, if that's your primary, which is for you what it is, like with Techno-Organic Virus, I discounted very much so. Like, okay, I didn't think it would be a good thing to do the Joaquin Torres because I'm like, you're getting 2-3 cost or 2-5 cost back into your hand. I don't see that as beneficial. I was wrong. I heard of it, but I discounted it and then saw it in testing and realized, wow, this is something. And having those conversations beforehand got me thinking one way, but then the playtesting gets me thinking another way. And people watch videos at different times during the week for different purposes. I think your audience is watching for the analysis versus Rez Snapper, who's watching for an analytical breakdown prior to release to tell you everything you need to know about the card. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to be super clear here. I am not like subtweeting here.
No, I didn't feel that way.
This is I don't know if people know this, baby. I don't watch Marvel Snap YouTube. Nobody. Oh, yeah. I don't do it. That is my job. I do not watch it in like I should watch more. I should do market research as a part of my job. Like that is the actual like it is probably a detriment to me. I do not watch Marvel Snap YouTube. So like I want to be clear, I'm not talking about any specific person, and I'm instead generalizing my experience from other games, right? Like I did a Hearthstone theory crafting stream once. They do that stuff, an early access thing. I did like theory crafting back when I was like a Magic player. I didn't respect it in all of these spaces, or I didn't understand the purpose beyond filling a spot in a content schedule. But that is not to say that, like, and I would be really clear about this. If you are someone who does this, I don't want to stop you from doing it. And I don't think worse of you as a human being for doing it. It is just like an annoying quirk of doing content in these spaces. And I'm sure there are 5 million annoying quirks about me that you could very easily be like, this is bothersome to me about you and the way you present things, KM. Very easy to do. Like, I want to be super clear.
Yeah.
This is not aimed at a person. It is just, I understand why in content spaces this exists, but the hit rate is so low that I just don't feel like I can engage with doing it myself in a meaningful way. Like it's hard. It's just really hard. Like
it is. Theory crafting's annoying. I'm not going to lie. Like I make 4 decks a week and it's for each card. It's annoying because you're trying to figure out what could potentially work, and you're trying to, dive, and especially as the game's
fundamentally
grown,
you're trying to predict the future.
100%. You're trying to predict the future and be unique.
My argument is basically,
at the same time.
My argument is basically, I think that there is a gap between what the audience wants and what it is reasonable to act like you can deliver. Does that make sense? What the audience wants is, I want to know if this is going to be a good purchase. I want to know how good this card is going to be. I want to know if this is a safe investment. I want to know every deck I can play it in. I want to know all of that. Theory crafting will not tell you any of that. None of it.
Right.
Zero. It won't tell you that. And so, like, to me, it's like a mismatch between what people want from the content and what theory crafting delivers, which is I get you thinking. I am interested in this card. I will get excited about this card. And like that's why all my stuff is ex post facto. If I had it my way, I wouldn't be reviewing cards for a month. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
I'm an evidence guy. I need something there.
As someone who does ingest a lot of YouTube Marvel Snap content and does market research, I will say confidently, for those who do present pre-release, theory crafting videos, more than half of the time of that video is not talking about decks. It's talking about cards. It's talking about synergies. It's talking about packages. It's talking about ceilings and floors. It's talking about value. It's talking about,
if you're going to do it, that's a good way to do it.
And then normally the last third of the video is, here are the decks I'm going to be trying on day one. etc. But the majority of the video is like a card analysis, and the community's kind of molded towards that model. And I agree with that model for all the reasons you're talking about right here, where it's one thing to predict the future. It's another thing to make very astute analyses that get people thinking prior to the release. And that's where a lot of those videos have been succeeding, when they go out prior to the release of a card.
Yeah, like I feel a certain type of way. Like, we get like, videos on the main Marvel Snap channel, right? And even those where it's like they come to me and they're like, we want you to make a video on this card. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know if people know how many of those I've said no to, where like, they're like, do you want to do this card? And I'm just like, I don't think I can do that card. Like, I don't think I can do that card justice the way you want it to be done. I just don't think that I'm the right person for this. Like, it's certainly a case where it's like, if I don't feel like, and to be clear, they pay you for those videos. Yeah. Like, it's not a free thing to say no. Like, right. I do live this to some degree, right? Like, this is not just a thing that I say and then don't live my life like that. Like, I do like, if I don't really feel like I have stuff for a card that would be beneficial for people to know, that would be like, here's something that I'm actually contributing to, I typically don't take the video. That's generally how I go about it. And
that's fair.
Again, this is not to say everyone has to do that. I think it's actually probably really stupid for you to do that. If Marvel Snap comes to you for this is like, we want you to do a video, you say yes, you don't ask questions, and you just do the work and you make it happen, right? Like, you just you grind it out and you do it regardless. Don't be like me. But those are the closest I get to theory crafting, right? When I did like a theory crafting video one time for a card I was really excited about that I can't remember now. But like, you want to know something? I went back through my Discord messages the other day, and I found a message from about when Kang released, and
OG Kang. Wow.
OG Kang. And you know what I said about that card? Take a guess. Take a guess. Just guess it.
Wow, this
Here,
broken.
Put this on screen. Put this on screen.
You just sent. Oh no.
Put this on screen. This is why I don't do this shit. Because, like, God forbid.
God.
Like, God forbid, dude. Like, again, authentically wrong. I lived by this. I lost in a tournament because I brought Kang in my Shuri deck. This is me being authentically dead fucking wrong.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's theory crafting. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like, that's what this is. It is an exercise where 95% of the outcomes are you saying this. Like, that is a lot of it. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe this is all like complex ego self-protection to not put myself in a space where I'm just going to be dead wrong all of the time. Maybe I'm actually a coward and just trying to get out of having to do something like this, and I should be doing more of this. But man, I just feel like when I read that back, what I see is, I was authentically wrong. I was acting in an honest way. It's still a disservice, right? Because there's probably someone who read that and was like, I should buy Kang.
Oh yeah.
It cost that person 6,000 tokens, right? Like, I don't know. It's definitely a conversation. Look at the reacts. Look at the reacts on that. Yeah, there's seven thumbs reacts up on the wrongest goddamn shit I've ever said in my entire life.
Heaven forbid you say something wrong, KM. Heaven forbid. 3 years ago.
I know this is like me beating myself up, and I take it more seriously than everyone else does. I realize that is the case here, but I can't really be a different way. Like, I don't really have the ability to be a person that I'm not. And so like, when I like, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, like, obviously that's a low end example. You're not going to be that wrong all the time. It's going to be, it happens. It does happen.
Do we need to say anything about Wolverine, Horseman of War, other than his numbers are all wrong?
I don't even know if it's like his numbers are all wrong, and more just like, at this point, I'm starting to believe Wolverine is cursed. I'm starting to believe in like an arcane reason for this rather than like a mathematical one.
It's plausible. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I mean,
they're sitting at a fat Owen on Wolverine. They're 0-3.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Considering how many times they also had to rework the first one a couple of times too. So yeah, you're right.
And the first one isn't even in discard deck or destroy decks unless they're like budget destroy with no Sholau in them.
Fair, but I don't know. Wolverine Horseman of War, just the more I played him, the more I felt like if I'm going to do this, I might as well either just do Mr. Fantastic style stuff for the similar effect. And then if I'm really looking at value of what he's bringing, it's too clunky to get value out of him to do it the way that you want to do it. Like you want to play him after a Captain Carter. Yeah, sure. Okay. You know how awful it is to play anything that isn't a Moonstone that's 4 cost on a Captain Carter for a whole whopping 3 extra power in a lane? Like it just, I constantly felt underwhelmed, and that this card is just very, very, very wrong, because it should be like a 2/1 that gives +3s, you know, like something along those lines. Like it's just really, I don't know what the numbers are, but you get what I'm saying. Idealistically, like it can never be a 3-cost card because it's the perfect surfer card. But I could absolutely see this being something that's just completely readdressed, or make him a 5 that gives +5s. I know you've mentioned that previously too. Like he's just I
like your 2-cost suggestion. I think that's a pretty reasonable space for this card to go. As a 4, I think. See, the thing is, I think this card wants to have a small body. So it's like you could fix this by putting a larger body on this card. But then you're like, why am I buffing this card? Right? Like, what is the point of me buffing this card? Why am I putting this in the Captain Carter lane? It's already just a big guy. So it's like, yeah, you can make it a 4/7 that has to get to 9 or whatever. And it's like you significantly improve the card, but it doesn't feel right because you're buffing a card that is big. That's not how it should feel, you know? And at 4, you know, maybe the solution is jack his output up to +4. I do want to highlight this, though. To all the people who say they can never put +3 buffs on a card and then ignore every time they have put +3 buffs on a card and it has sucked mad ass.
Yeah.
Do you know how many goddamn comments I got about Show Loud that were just like, look at Galacta, they can't put +3s on a card. Shut up. Shut up. It is not an output question. It is an input question. It is always an input and output question. There are 2 numbers on Marvel Snap cards. Both matter. They both matter.
You oddly just got me thinking of another resolution for him, which is to make his upgraded power part of the modality of the effect, where it's like, if he's a 4/3 right now, right? This has 5 or more power. Give this card's power to a card at each location.
Stop it. Do not make Maverick 2. Stop it. Cut it out. I'm gonna put the kibosh on that immediately.
You know what I mean?
There's already a card like that in the data mines. I am kiboshing making Maverick 3 for sure. We are not doing this.
Just saying. It could, because once it passes the threshold, whether you pass it by a little or you pass it by a lot, the effect, it's an objective. It'll just happen when it happens.
Work.
So
yeah, it would work. I mean, you could just put that text on it right now. It would work, right? You'd be passing on 5. Crazy, right? Like,
yeah, but like something, it just, that's what I'm saying though. Like there's something off about the goal of what this card wants to do, because this is one of the more complicated objectives in regards to like trying to figure out what is the mission, the reward for doing the mission. I just feel like the prize at the end of the rainbow is a pot of bronze. It's really just not worth it. That's all I have to say about that.
No, that's about right.
I don't know. He's poo-poo caca.
A pot of bronze is like kind of a nasty title for this episode. It'll probably like absolutely obliterate click through though. You gotta.
All right, so then give me the
it.
B testing name for it. What's the other name for the episode? I'll test that one.
I actually don't know.
Name.
Your titles are weird. I don't know. My titles are all like, the verbal equivalent of me making the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, by the way, someone screenshotted the me making that face has been used as a reaction image in my Discord quite a bit now. The one where your feet, here comes the airplane. That's
spoon feeding you. Oh yeah, I saw.
It's quite the phenomenon. It's quite a thing. I'm
surprised you don't have fruit emotes in your Discord server, to be honest.
I'm good, dude. I don't want to think about the psychosexual fruits anymore. I'm good. I don't want to think about them. I don't want to think about the psychosexual fruits. Seriously, man, what is the deal with those? Like, why are they all about a weak man being cheated on by his
I've been down this road
jerk
before.
Ass wife.
There's background music playing right now. That people don't want to hear this again. They know. Your obsessions are yours.
Okay. All right. You know what? Fair enough. You got anything else for me that isn't related to videos of AI fruits being cheated on?
Nope.
Well, then I guess we're going to talk about videos of AI fruits being cheated on, guest. I know you're going to cut this out. I know you're going to cut me off. I know this is going to be the place where you end the podcast in the middle of me yelling, but I want anyone listening to this to know we talked about this for 2 hours. I'm about to talk his ear off about this. I don't know if he's going to cut me off beforehand. You might not hear it, but he will.